Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad. My name is Austin.
And my name is Patrick.
And guys, welcome to our show.
Yeah, we got AVT and PAT. They talking about young Americans overseas. We got McKennie, Pulisic, Reyna, and Des. Got that red, white, and blue. USA on the crest from England, Germany, from Belgium to Spain. Racking up all the medals on the trophy train. Got one thing on their mind. We're scaling some luck. One day we can say we will win the World Cup.
Well, guys, it's great to be back with you this week. And Pat, we've got some big storylines to talk about today.
Yeah, we definitely do. There's a lot going on, from just to start off, Austin, the tough injuries, right, to some of our star players here concerning, for obviously the USMNT and then their respective clubs, right?
Yeah, it was tough to hear. I think, the Weston McKennie injury is huge, right? Definitely our most informed player at the moment, and now sounds like he'll be out for March, and yeah, we'll be missing those last round of World Cup qualifiers. That's huge, but we did get a nice little boost of news today, and a move that I'm really excited about, and that's the Jesse Marsch move to Leeds. So I can't wait to talk about that today. I feel like we've got so much to discuss with that and unpack.
Yeah, that's awesome, right? I
Yeah.
mean, he's the guy to do it, right? To bring him, the safety and glory, right, and build long term. So that's exciting. We'll get into that, and then.
Well, if he's not, then we got some problems, I guess. But fingers crossed.
Yes,
fingers crossed.
yes, I'm knocking on wood over here, and also, knocking on wood because our boy Captain America has been in tremendous form. We'll obviously get into the final there, but Champions League as well. But man, Christian is on fire, and there's so much to talk about too, as he really has had a resurgence, right, in confidence and form at Chelsea.
Yeah. So I guess first, let's start off with that injury, right? Weston McKennie. Got to really talk about that and the ramifications it kind of has long term.
Yeah, Austin. It's pretty tough, for Weston, right? Just the form he's in, or he was in. Oh gosh, I have to talk past tense now.
Yeah.
But with this injury, right, happening against Villarreal there in the Champions League round of 16. So, I think as soon as he went down, right, it wasn't intentional, but just really unfortunate injury, and unfortunately these things happen in football. But he's out for at least 2 months after initial scans there revealed a fractured second and third metatarsal there on his left foot. Literally one of the, not to sound so, I guess, bleak about it, but it's one of the worst injuries, right, for a soccer player.
Foot injury.
Terrible news. Yeah, especially again the form he's in. And you can just see how crucial he was. Juventus, obviously, some different acquisitions there, Vlahovic and other signings to really turning things in terms of the Serie A and the league. McKennie just being that calming figure in the midfield, driving things forward, getting back on defense. It seemed like before the start, he was in and out with rumors, and just now it almost feels like the team's being built around him, or just, he's really one of the stars in the midfield, you could say, and just part of this resurgence Juventus is having as a club,
Yeah, and honestly, it's just it feels like his rise in form has really happened with Juventus's rise in form, right? And we've heard all those quotes from Massimo Allegri that he's such a key player to their squad now. And now that they have Vlahovic, who's really in great form himself and kind of taking the reins of that attack there at Juve, and really helping them. They've been missing goal scoring for so long, right? Even when Ronaldo was there was really no true goal scorer up at the top. So it almost feels like everything was clicking for Juve and Weston McKennie, and now it's just like, just had to have an injury, right?
Yeah, and what's concerning, right, from the USMNT perspective, the timing of this with 3 critical. This is it. The World Cup qualifiers here in March. Unfortunately, he won't be a part of that, and that really hurts, right? Because he is the heartbeat, right, of our team, the core, especially with Pulisic kind of in and out of form there for the USMNT previously, and some injuries along the way.
With Tyler Adams too, right? Like
right,
kind of in and out of that lineup at Leipzig, but not in like the hottest form of his life.
Exactly, and just you're seeing McKennie, like we've talked about, right? He's taken that next step. he is such an elite score aerial threat, right? He can get forward. He's really put all those different, he played so many different positions at Schalke and just in the past, and he's put almost all of that together. And it's just kind of like found that I guess working recipe, right? Mastered all those ingredients together and conjured up a beautiful dish, right? A 5-star meal, comparing it to fine cuisine. But he really, again, like you said, Allegri, he offers so many different unique skill sets that not many other players have. And it's just amazing to see what he's been able to do. And we know he'll be able to recover and come back. But just from the timing for Juventus, right, closing in on the Champions League spot, I think Atalanta's pretty close behind them, as well as they're still in the round of 16, right? It's a 1-1 draw. And then for USMNT perspective, it's just terrible timing.
Yeah. And we hope he comes back and can help Juve, at least achieve a Champions League spot, right? I think they're still in that top 4 there, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, yeah, that's kind of the goal for them. And I think, once this March window is over, that's the goal for Weston, right? Is to finish the season strong with Juve, have a good summer under his belt and kind of get some rest and get ready for the start of next year and also the start of our hopeful World Cup, that whole, lead up to the World Cup, right? Like, that's the most important thing. So, I'm excited for that time period, but, with some of these injuries, definitely a little bit nervous about, the run up and hoping that we have all our best players healthy. I feel like, the closer we get, the more like on pins and needles I feel we all will be with some of these injury announcements and things. But
I know. Perfect segue though, right?
Yeah, I was just going to say, looking down, that's what we're going to talk about next, and that's Gio Reyna's injury. So, last week we weren't able to record, so wanted to talk about it a little bit on this episode. It looked like last week he injured his thigh and had to come out in the 30th minute of Dortmund's game against Gladbach. The injury looked pretty well. I should say this: it was it was a non-contact injury, right? It looked like he just kind of came up lame, and
those are sometimes scarier, Austin.
Yeah, and it just you had that video that kind of went around social media where he just started like holding his leg, and you were like, oh no, and then came off. Some people after the game, I think even Marco Rosa said he thought it was a tear in his thigh and that he was going to be out for an extended period of time again. So, that whole diagnosis right after the fact really was scary, right? Not just for Gio Reyna, but also just for, again, kind of the repercussions that an injury of a player like that would have on our World Cup hopes as well, selfishly. But again, doctors took a look at him. Now it sounds like he's only going to be out 2 to 3 weeks or so. And it's already been a week. So hopefully he's back in 2 weeks. And again, I think we were talking a little bit off camera before we started today. The priority for him is not to come back and play with Dortmund. And again, that's a selfish opinion of us, right? Like, we want him to be back on the field for his club team. He's missed so much time, really, needs to be playing for them and can really help them right now as well. But I think his goal needs to be, helping us in March and qualifying for the World Cup. I think, again, it's easy to say in our position, but I don't know. That's kind of the lens I'm looking at it with.
Yeah. And I believe to an interview, right? So what he mentioned, he really wants to, be a part of that, right? And just, mentioned obviously with the qualifiers coming up here, and like you said, the shorter time frame, hopefully recovery, things will be good, by that end of March here. So, it's crucial. Obviously, he's one of our best players, right? Even he's so young, he just has that X factor, right, that you see in high level elite players, and it's just been tough, right? This injury, and then obviously having this happen, it shocks you as a young player, right? You work so hard to recover, and it's kind of a grind alone, right? In the recovery room. Off the side, right, to the other players training on the pitch, and you're kind of maybe in another facility on a treadmill, right, and stretching and working out other areas, to finally getting that taste, right, of football, and then having it temporarily taken. It's tough, right? But he's a player that just wears his emotions hard on his sleeve, and he'll be back, better than ever. But it's just tough, right, Austin? Because I think back to, like, he's still an amazing player, but you saw coming into this season, this was going to be like the season, right, or two that took him to the next level at Dortmund. And it's just unfortunate this injury's kind of stalled or delayed that, if that makes sense. Like, really becoming that Pulisic right figure at Dortmund, and maybe rising to that next level in the future, to that next high caliber team. But unfortunately, this injury kind of stalled that temporarily.
Yeah, and I think that'll come. I still think he has, plenty of time to achieve his potential. I know he's kind of fallen down the pecking order, and some lists that have come out, or even some of the awards for young players in world football. I feel like we're starting to see them forget about Gio, but we know him, right? We know the ability he has. We know the opportunity he has there at Dortmund, and we know, again, his intangibles, his demeanor, right? The kind of the seriousness and level of competition he brings as a player. So for all those reasons, I'm not worried about it. But yeah, it is kind of something where, you want him healthy, right? You want him back on the field and proving himself and showing people what he can do. But yeah, we just want him to get back healthy, and that's the main goal, right? That's what we want from him. So yeah,
exactly. But I guess away from injury talk, right?
And let's get us away from there.
Let's get a little bit more, happy, positive. We have Christian Pulisic, at Chelsea. So after being moved to a million positions and Tuchel tinkering with the entire lineup, to no avail there, as Lukaku is unfortunately finding out. Pulisic started. I should go back to a dominant Champions League performance and a nice 2-0 win against Timo's Lille in the round of 16 there. So obviously, playing on the wing, just looked so confident and dangerous, right? Obviously had that awesome goal. You could see how passionate he was, right, with the fan base, how happy he was to score. He's just a Champions League fiend too, and he has that clutch gene, right, when it comes to this knockout stages of the league. So obviously had the gritty dance there, and there was some funny tweets and videos going back, and I think Carragher also was trolling a little bit, but that was funny in itself. But you could just see, even from those interviews, and the happiness, right, the relief almost, and you saw it back with the US, where he came off the bench, scored, obviously pretty pissed that he didn't start. Excuse my language there. But yeah, I mean, he's really turned the corner, and you could see even with this recent Carabao Cup final. Obviously, I'm happy Liverpool won, but obviously, part of me,
selfishly,
feels for Pulisic though too on the other side of things. And again, for some whatever reason, we were talking about this off camera, he loves playing against Liverpool. I don't know what it is. It's just the way that the Liverpool defense is exposed to counters with their game pressing, and he's just able to take advantage of that so well. His line-breaking passes, his dribbling, just makes our defenders look like they're in, I don't know, backups in the USL. I don't know. It's funny, but awesome to see, right, from a USMNT perspective, and just Chelsea, that he's such a pivotal factor. Obviously they didn't win the game, but he was arguably the best player on that pitch, and he could have himself scored early, but also that ball he played to Mount was incredible, and Mount should have scored as well. So they had their chances. Against, selfishly as a Liverpool fan, I'm happy, but it's also great to see Pulisic put on such a great string of performances here.
Yeah, I love seeing him. He got that opportunity a few weeks ago, right, when Mason Mount went down in the Club World Cup. He was
that's right,
out injured now. So I feel like now's his time to really prove himself again and show people what he can do. And doing that against Liverpool in an important game is always great, right? And you alluded to it as well. Like, he loves playing against Liverpool. So what better opponent, right, Pat? Liverpool fan over there.
Come on, Christian.
So I always think back to the game where he came on a few years ago. I guess it was when the restart happened after the first round of COVID, or when COVID hit, I guess, and they were playing Liverpool. He got subbed on and scored those 2 goals, and you just see Jurgen Klopp going, "Oh, okay, like, that's great." Like, I always love thinking back to that game, and those are good memories. So, yeah. Sorry, Pat. Just wanted to rub that in a little bit more.
No, it's all good. No, I mean, again, from USMNT perspective, it's awesome, and it is different, right? Just because he's rounding the form, and Chelsea's still kind of having some mixed results there. Obviously, it's pretty close, right? Aside from Liverpool and City, that third, fourth, even fifth, and Arsenal's actually playing pretty well, and they have a few games in hand. And
shocker there, right?
Shocker there.
Shocker.
That's a conversation. But yeah, for this cup game, and what we've seen recently is Lukaku not starting, and he's not getting the playing time, which is interesting. Obviously, I had those comments a while back, but I think they were in a 3-4-2-1, and it's been Havertz up top. Recently, right, Mount's back from injury, so Mount back in the lineup and Pulisic there. So, underneath Havertz, which is interesting to me. So, curious to kind of see, obviously, Timo, right, Hudson-Odoi attackers. I mean, it's awesome to see Pulisic kind of, grind it out, get back in that starting lineup. And I know there's been, injuries, there's been not getting into form, moved around so many positions. I think you and I, and you mentioned off camera, Austin, I think Chelsea's still a great place to be in terms of the talent they have. Obviously, the Prem is, it's a tough league, but they're still top 2 or 3. They're predicted, right, to even potentially win the league. They're in the Champions League, round 16 again. They were just in a cup final, right? I think it's still one of the best spots he could possibly be in terms of clubs.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I really think he's in a great spot, even if he's not playing, or even if he's not in that starting 11 every game. I think Chelsea is a great place for him to be. I think there's a lot of competition in that team, and it's, again, a team with title-winning aspirations, right? You saw that last year with the Champions League, bringing in Thomas Tuchel mid-season. Some teams would have kept Frank Lampard on due to, the the respect they have for him, and just kind of the, they don't have those title-winning aspirations to the level that I think Chelsea does. And I think that really spoke volumes. They're, willing to make that change that truly paid off and put them in a great situation to end that season. So, yeah, I think he's in a great spot. I was telling you off camera a little bit, I still want to see Christian Pulisic go to a team like Real Madrid or Barcelona. Yeah. I honestly think, if Serginho Dest at Barcelona, but I think we need another player to kind of like plant that flag there.
We know you're doing that on Ultimate Team or something in FIFA. And we know you're making that transfer.
Exactly. You got to, right? You want players playing at the top level in the best teams. Mbappe is going to Madrid. Sounds like they're going to kind of, try and restock this summer. So I don't know. I'm not saying in the near future, but I wouldn't hate to see him kind of, spend some time at a team like that as well. So yeah, I think with that, we're going to go into by far the most interesting topic of the day today. The biggest news definitely of the day we're filming on right now. And that's Jesse Marsch being named as Leeds United's manager. So yeah, just was appointed to Leeds today. Marcelo Bielsa obviously was let go, this weekend. And yeah, they haven't been in great form this year, Pat, right? They've just not clicked, right? They had that great, first season in the Premier League, followed it up with a season that was decent, right? I think this is their third year in the Prem now, right? I want to say. Maybe it's their second year. I could have sworn it was 3 years, but anyway, they had success, right? We felt, coming away from last season that Leeds United were going to take, another step this year, right? I think this is their second year, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, they finished 9th last year, Austin. 9th.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, they had success, right? Like that's definitely above their punching above their weight, right? It seems so. Yeah, you thought that coming into the season. Obviously, Bielsa, we hear about him as a manager. He does things very much his own way. And it sounds like that kind of just didn't really vibe with the team this year. So, results weren't great, as of the past few games, Pat, right? We looked at them, 4-0 loss to Tottenham, and then the 6-0 loss to Liverpool. I mean,
yeah, Austin had 60 goals allowed. Negative 31 goal difference.
Yikes. Yeah, that is,
I didn't know that's
very brutal
until now, so I wanted to share that. That's not good.
Yeah, that is not good at all. So, yeah, now that's Jesse Marsch's team. He will be taking over a team that has conceded 60 plus goals. And I think overall, I think it's a good move for him, right? Like, this is a team that is very much struggling to stay up this year in the Premier League. But when you look at his scenario from coming away from Leipzig, kind of mutually parting ways, I'd say last November, I think the way things played out there, again, was given a team that, didn't really have the identity that he had as a coach. And, for one reason or another, it seemed like management didn't want to change to his style. Obviously, Julian Nagelsmann really kind of changed things there at Leipzig. So, for that reason, it just didn't really work out. And I think, he kind of lost a little bit of confidence, in my opinion, when he was there at Leipzig. And that kind of led to that, not the full buy-in from the locker room there. So I think in coming away from that situation, I think coming into this one, he just has to have confidence in his ability, confidence in his scheme, right? He likes to play that total football, style, right? Like any player on the pitch can
high
do
press, high octane, yeah,
pretty much anything. Yeah, high press, high octane. And I think he just needs to stick to that and go with what works. I think that'll fit well in the Premier League. Personally, I think you've seen teams do that to great effect, right? Like that Leicester team did that pretty effectively back when they won the Premier League. They were constantly on the counterattack, constantly pressuring teams. And I just think he needs to stay true to himself. And again, I think he did that, but I just don't think it was the right situation there in Germany. So I just think, again, this is the same or a good level for him to, again, prove himself at. We heard those Monaco rumors a little while back, had no experience in France. So that really concerned me. Also, just the level that Monaco wants to be at just didn't seem right. Like here at Leeds, he's going to have, again, avoiding relegation is by far the clear goal for this year. And if he can do that, then I think he succeeds in year one. But if he can do that, then I think, again, reaching, Europa League, European Conference League, like that's kind of the goal for Leeds and climbing into that top half of the Premier League. And I think it's, again, a great spot for him to kind of just pick up the pieces and, go to work. Now, I do think he's going to have to go to work quick. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, he is. They have 12 games, I think, remaining in the Premier League. I know they're ahead. Everton's right there. That's a team, they're going to fight to not be relegated. I mean, they're right above that last spot. And then obviously Burnley there. I think the points are still pretty close between that last, I guess, the top relegation spot. And even Watford, I think, right below. There's not too much. Obviously, Leeds is in a better spot, right, than those teams. But yeah, I think, he really has to. I think he can, right? Obviously, he's a smart guy, right? Austin, we know and it looks like even Leeds, right? The sporting director, right, and just ownership and things, right? This has been something maybe in the works for longer than a lot of people have expected or just would know. He's not going to jump into something that he knows after multiple meetings that he has full confidence in management, and ownership, understanding the style of play, right, that he wants to implement. That they clearly mentioned that in some of the interviews here on the Leeds site, that, they really loved what he did at Leipzig and even with the New York Red Bulls, but especially at Leipzig, Salzburg. Let me correct myself. They did not mention Leipzig. Salzburg, but very much emphasized just the way he, was able to instill that passion, right? The play, the desire, all those factors into his team. So I know it's a very small amount of time, but it really seems like he has the buy-in. He thought this out. They did too, right? There's been a lot of meetings behind the scenes, so I'm excited for this, and I think he is kind of that motivator, right, to get some of these guys, give them a wake-up call per se, and make them fight for their place in the Premier League.
Yeah, and I really think in listening to you speak about that, something that also stood out to me in him coming away from Leipzig, right? Like they didn't do so great, right? They really had a tough start to the season this year. It was really just not working out with him as manager. But the one thing you didn't hear coming away from him stepping down there or him leaving there was players bad mouthing him or saying bad things about him. And I think, again, that speaks to his character. I think that speaks to his understanding and kind of recognition that, again, things just weren't working out. And I think that's really unique. And I think, again, that kind of calls to why I think he is going to be a success here, why there is potential for him to succeed. I guess we should maybe talk a little bit more about Leeds and where they are right now, Pat. So this is a team that, spent some money this past summer, right? Got Dan James on a transfer, brought in some other players from other leagues abroad. And again, when you look at this roster, there's a lot of talent on the team, right? You've got, some flashy players in attack, like Rafinha is a great player, was rumored to be going to I think Bayern, this past winter, had some other teams interested in him. Probably won't survive after the season. I think it's pretty safe to say he's going to be going somewhere. Yeah. There's some other players, Dan James is a great player as well. Someone that wasn't getting playing time at Man United, but definitely has the talent to play in the Premier League and be a really talented player for this team. Even Jack Harrison, right? Former MLS guy, someone who, has played against the Jesse Marsch team. Yeah. I'm sure some level of familiarity with him.
And all the injuries, right? Awesome. A few guys coming back in March. They're going to be quality to the squad.
Yeah, and that's really the other thing too. There's 3 huge injuries, I would say, and that have kind of hurt Leeds the most this year, and really is a good reason, or just, it makes sense a little bit more why Leeds hasn't performed up to the level we were expecting. And that's, the injury to Patrick Bamford, Calvin Phillips, and then also Liam Cooper. So all 3 of those players, right? You got Bamford in attack, Calvin Phillips in midfield, and Liam Cooper in defense. Yeah. All are like
one line, right? One entire line.
Yeah, and those are all 3 guys who rose up with Leeds, right? So they're kind of the captains at each of their jurisdictions, I would say, each of their positions, right? Their position groups. And yeah, just not having those 3 key players, I think not only hurts you quality-wise on the field, but also hurts you in the locker room, right? Because these guys can still be leaders through injury and, be there for the team, but it's not the same type of leadership, when that occurs, right? When you're out injured. So I think just they're all scheduled to be back, later this month in March. So I think if that happens and everything goes to plan, then I think that's another big jumpstart for Jesse Marsch. And it gives him just, again, some more key guys to rely upon in this change and in this transition. The other thing too, Pat, and looking at their schedule, so they just played Liverpool, Tottenham. They have coming up now Leicester City, Aston Villa, and Norwich. So Norwich is obviously one of the worst teams in the Premier League right now. They also play Watford within their next 6 games. So I think this is, again, a good scenario for Jesse Marsch to be coming into. Obviously, He needs to be picking up points from day one and helping them secure their standing in the Premier League. But what better teams to do it against than teams that aren't in the top
like
6?
A City or a Chelsea or one of that. That's just tough for anybody to come into, right?
Yeah. So I think that'll help him kind of ease in a little bit more. And I think the other thing, and just looking at the situation a little bit closer and what Jesse Marsch has been doing for the past few years, he's coached in Austria, he's coached in Germany. Those leagues, it's him learning German, and speaking to players in not their native language. So I think for the very simple fact, the fact that he's coaching in England now, again, I think will help him just connect with players better. And I think it's going to be easier for him to impart his style on this team. I think he's going to be able to build that trust and that confidence, that camaraderie within the team a little bit easier maybe than past teams. I think that's just a very basic, analytical perspective on this move.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's almost a perfect way, to end the segment on Jesse Marsch and the Leeds. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself, Austin. It's daunting. It's exciting. There's a lot of emotions, right? Almost, again, don't want to compare it right to the USMNT and how I'm feeling about qualifying, but there's just a lot going on. And you really, really hope, Jesse has proven success, right? There's been some hardships and challenges, but what better way to kind of get that confidence back as a coach and just really build something long-term and one of the best leagues, right? One of the richest leagues in the world. You're going to have a lot of money, right? If they do stay up and with revenue and everything like that, to be able to really mold and create his team, with some top talent. So I'm just really excited to see what he can do with Leeds. So
Yeah,
stay tuned.
I'm gonna put you on blast, Pat. What was the? It wasn't a bet per se, but what was the? You said something about Jesse Marsch helping Leeds stay above relegation versus the U.S. qualifying for the World Cup. What was that, Pat?
Oh, shoot. Did I say I feel more confident in the U.S. qualifying? Is that what
Yes, that's what you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, maybe I was being a little bit, I don't know.
I'm not saying
About it,
anything.
but
I'm saying, yeah. Let us know if you think Pat was being.
let us know if I'm out of line here. I very well could be. I'm feeling confident the U.S. will be good. But now that I'm looking at the standings again, maybe it's not as dire as I think with Leeds, but also, he's really got to turn that sinking ship around, because they have a lot of holes with 10 goals given up in the last 2 games. That's not great.
Yeah, not great, Bob.
Yeah,
Just
not
wanted
great.
to put you on blast there, buddy. I don't know if that speaks more in your lack of confidence for Jesse Marsch and his situation, or your brash confidence for the U.S. qualifying.
I know, very
World Cup.
Not like in the middle, right? It's very much 100, 0 to 100 in both ways. But we're gonna go over to the Eredivisie and end with a player that got
everybody's favorite player,
right? Yeah, exactly.
He does so many. A man of many talents. He edits his own videos too, and
that's right.
Yeah.
When he's not editing and producing, he's scoring chips and making teams of the week, and that's Luca de la Torre, who is just really coming to great form, as well as with Heracles, right? Climbing into 11th with a 2-0 win. So during this game, right, he really just had so many chances created, those key passes that we've come to know and love, and just the way he's able to see the pitch, and plays develop almost like chess, right? 2 or 3 moves ahead. He's having these daft touches, picking balls out of the air, his backs to defenders, but somehow instinctively knows where his attackers are going to be, where they're running to, the way he connects plays, his ball progression passes that we've come to know and love. That was on full effect. And obviously that was a nice chip he had for a goal. Not sure what the keeper was doing, but hey, a goal's a goal. And that's a huge win for them. A team that not so long ago was struggling, right? Towards the bottom. Now they're in 11th. Not a bad place. And Luca's been a huge part of their success. So he's really found great playing time, a management team that really, has full trust in him. And obviously that's paying dividends, right? Being included with the USMNT. Interested to kind of see where he goes, right? If he's going to be that crucial kind of bit or sub player for us, or maybe something more, only time will tell, Austin.
Yeah. And with Weston McKennie's injury, right, that could play a big role in his playing time this upcoming window in the most crucial games we've played, right, in a long time. So yeah, I think he's peaking at a good time and showing that he can be a player that can contribute, not only at his club level, right, and be a star for them or be a key player, but also, what he can contribute to us on the international level, right, and be that pacemaker, that player that can really just connect play in midfield and kind of create, right? That's what we want him to do. So yeah, I think he's an interesting option. I think I don't know. I think I just want to see more of him, right? I want to continue to see him progressing. I don't want to put too much pressure on the team he's playing for, right? Because I think he's done what's been asked of him, and especially in that game against at Minnesota. Against Honduras, I think he did a great job in that game. So
yeah, and you were there.
Yeah, I was there. It was fun to watch him. He really did a good job that game. So I guess just want to see him continue to play well, and I guess again selfishly this summer if a team comes calling, but we talked about it last time. Is it good to change teams before World Cup? Yada yada yada. I know. Like it's the same song and dance for these players.
Yeah, the same song and dance. But yeah, I think just quickly I wanted to add, right, and you made me think about this here with your comments there on Luca, but I think just from interviews that I've seen, right, across various platforms, and just really seeing his personality, right? He seems like a very, very intelligent, kind of
measured,
thoughtful, very, kind of thinking, right, in terms of what you're seeing on the pitch, to he is being very, I guess not cautious, right, but just diligent in terms of what he's saying, right? There's a lot of intent, in terms of his, he's seeing with interviews or quotes, and just, how he, I guess, really carries himself, right? So he doesn't seem like a player that's going to fold too much under pressure, and he seized the moment at the USMNT. He's been really pushing for that, right, to get back with the squad. Obviously, very composed on the pitch for a club in the Eredivisie. It's no easy league, right? And like you said, I'd love to see him make a move, even staying in the league, maybe to a top 4 or 5 team. In the Eredivisie would be awesome, I think, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm happy where he's at. He's getting game time, and I have pretty good confidence, whether it's, again, I don't know if starting or not, but somebody that you bring on early in the second half and have, chances created, even in a hostile environment, where you're playing in Mexico, but that against that caliber, I think he's a player, that would be very calm, right, and calculated, and just cool, calm, and collective under pressure there.
Yeah, and the other cool thing too is he grew up playing with a lot of these players. He grew up playing with Christian Pulisic. He grew up with Weston McKennie. He's played on youth national teams with some of these other players as well. At the U20 World Cup, for example. So, yeah, I think, he's a really interesting player, and he's, I feel like, more well connected with what especially Greg Berhalter is asking of him. And again, just like the situation he finds himself in now, I feel like there's a lot of familiarity with the system and again, the players, and he's in a good spot, in his club career as well. So yeah, he's in a good spot, right? That's the easiest way to put it. So I think with that, now we will head over to quick kicks.
All right, guys, we're back. I'm excited to finally say this part. I know you all have been waiting for it. Austin's been waiting for it. It's none other than quick kicks.
So to start quick kicks today, we have Tyler Adams, who started and played 59 minutes for Leipzig in their 1-0 win over Bochum.
Nice. And Serginho Dest, part of this Barca resurgence, right? Started on the left with Alves on the right, and a 4-0 win for Barcelona against Athletic Club.
Yeah, and with missing our episode last week, just wanted to highlight real quick Brendan Aronson, who had an assist for Bayern last week and then a goal at the weekend in the Austrian league there. We'll actually go up against Bayern again this week. So, really excited to watch that game.
Yeah, as am I. And maybe if he performs again, they'll add another 5 or 10 mil, right, to his value.
Yeah, right?
So Conrad De La Fuente, right, wanted to cover there. So he actually came 7 minutes as a substitute and scored a goal in a 3-0 win in Marseille's Europa Conference League win. And then unfortunately he was not in the 18 for this past weekend, but hey, got some minutes and a goal.
Yeah, that was his first goal for Marseille as well, so good for him. We want to go now over to Spain and talk about Yunus Musa. So Yunus started and played 78 minutes for Valencia in their 1-0 win over Mallorca. We actually got to see him and Matt Hoppe exchange jerseys and, pleasantries after the game. So a cool moment to see.
Yeah. Hopefully Hoppe, that's another conversation. Gets
yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, but Timo Weah actually played the final 16 minutes there in a 1-0 win for Lille against Lyon.
Yeah, Stu Holden and Steve Nash got to phone up the coach there and tell him put number what is he now, 11 on the field for Mallorca?
I don't know, man.
So now heading over to Portugal, we have Reggie Cannon, who started and played all 90 minutes for Boa Vista in their 3-2 win.
And Anthony Robinson, having just the time right there in the championship. And soon to be Prem, I think, not jinxing him. Played 90 minutes there, right? Last week in a 2-1 win against Peterborough United. So keeping up the performances there.
Yeah, and going to a player in Argentina now, player we'd all like to see at some point, and that's Alan Sonora, who subbed on and played the final 15 minutes and also scored a goal for Independiente in their 2-2 draw with Boca Juniors.
It's awesome to see. To see. And PFOC started and played the full 90. And Young Boys 3-1 win against Sion.
And going over to England, we have Josh Sargent, who started and played 90 minutes for Norwich in their 2-0 loss over the weekend to Southampton.
That's tough. They got to start winning. But CCV with Celtic, right? Started and played the full 90 in a 0-0 draw against Hibs.
And going over to Germany, Ricardo Pepi started and played 59 minutes for Augsburg in their big 1-1 draw with Dortmund.
Okay. It's a draw against a good team.
Yeah, got to see more from Ricardo, but
I know another one.
It'll happen.
And Sam Vines started and played 77 minutes in a really tough 4-1 loss to Club Brugge.
And going over to Italy, we have Gianluca Busio and Tanner Tessman. So Busio started and played 79 minutes before being replaced by Tessman. And that was in their 3-1 loss to, I think it was Hellas Verona, if I'm not mistaken. I actually didn't write it down. So
all good. Well, they need to start winning, Austin, because they are in the relegation zone.
Yeah, back in it. Yeah.
It's tough. Brian Reynolds, BBB there, started and played the full 90 in a tough 2-0 loss for Kortrijk.
Gotcha. And going over to France, we have Eric Palmer-Brown, who started and played 77 minutes for Troyes in their 1-1 draw with Marseille.
Nice. Great for EPB. And Jonathan Gomez for Real Sociedad's B team started and played the full 90 in a 1-0 win.
Nice. And the player I am wearing the jersey for today, Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Valérien Balogun. Didn't do anything great, but just wanted to throw the jersey on for him today. Subbed on and played 45 minutes for Middlesbrough in their 3-2 loss to Barnsley.
Shout out to the Borough. I like it.
I am still on the Valérien Balogun, bandwagon or train. So
good. Hey, we need some goal scorers.
Move.
We need that, Austin.
That's right.
Jack De Vrij started went the full 90. And Venezia's U19's 4-0 victory over Udinese. And De Vrij actually scored in the 49th minute and also had an assist there for another goal. So he's killing it. Maybe he gets promoted up to the first team.
Nice. Yeah. Another American in the first team would be cool there in Venezia. Now we want to finish off our episode today with a little bit of a storyline, and that's about Malik Tillman. So it sounds like Malik is willing to consider playing for the U.S. in the future. So definitely, watch that space. Malik's been, getting some substitute appearances for Bayern this year. I think made his Champions League debut as well earlier in the season. So definitely a player that has potential. I think he's still in the 18, maybe just turned 19. So
wow, still that young.
Yeah, still very young, still growing his skill set, and definitely an attacker that is one to watch for the future. And that's all for episode today, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel down below.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Austin. And social media, Instagram, Twitter, putting out that great content for you all. So stay tuned there, as we, film these awesome shows, right? Week in and week out.
Yeah, and also check out our merch store online. We've got some cool shirts available for you. Talking about making some more for, the upcoming games in March, depending on the results. And
knocking on wood, Austin. Knocking on wood.
Yeah, I got to knock on wood. So check those out.
Yeah, and don't forget Spotify, right? Apple podcast forum on your commutes, right? Or just when you have some downtime, maybe some data entry, with your work, listen to us too, right? We have a great YouTube channel, but podcast forum as well.
Yeah, exactly. And another important week coming up. We've got Champions League going again, so a lot of storylines hopefully for next week and next episode. So can't wait to talk about those, next week.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot, right? Pressure with Marsch, with some of our other players here, right? We need some of our strikers, right, to break out of these slumps and score, get into good form before the end of March, right? Because it's do or die now, Austin. It's leading to our goal, right, in the long run.
That's right, and that is one day we will win the World Cup.